once my head had got settled into it, I knew I had to be there. I knew there was a reason why I was there, like, so I just had to get on with it.
If I'd said to you a year before, you're gonna have 3.5 years to do soon, you'd have been terrified.
Don't ever tell anybody you take that medication.
Who sat there and thought, I'm going to smoke this, see what it does?
I'm not coming out here the same as what I've gone in.
You land at Low Newton, you've never been in prison before. Where was your head at that point?
These lads were in the back of the wagon when I was going in. They were like, "Whoa, a bit of fresh meat on the wagon." I was like, oh, God. Shouting on, asking if it was my first time in, and then I'd said yeah, and they were like, "Oh, I better get yourself prepared and that, like, on the wagon." I'm like, I don't want to get prepared.
So up to that point, you'd only heard stories or what you'd seen on the telly.
That exactly what in my head was like a series of bad girls. Like that's all I pictured in my head, like the bunk beds and all that, but it was not like that.
Okay, you land in reception.
Yeah, and I got met by...
How was that process for you?
Lovely, because, well, not lovely, it wasn't lovely, but it was like an easier, I would say, to go in because nobody else was in. It was later on at night on the Monday night when I got there. And I was the only one getting off the wagon that day, so there was nobody else in reception apart from me and like the officers and the nurse. And she was an SO at the time. She came over and she was lovely, really like softly spoken, very nice.
Put you at ease a little bit.
I really.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Prison Opticians Trust, providing vital eye care in prisons and empowering inmates with professional training for a better future.
When you got there, you had no property. Were you on medication?
Yes.
So what meds were you on?
I was on pregabalin for my anxiety, and I can't remember which antidepressant it was at the time, but I was on an antidepressant. And they all got like taken off us straight away.
Right.
Did
you see the nurse?
Yeah, I did see the nurse in reception, but...
Did you make them aware about your meds?
Yeah. I'd said like how long I'd been on them and what they were for and stuff like that, but I think obviously everyone gets treated the same, don't they? And all she'd said is that I wouldn't be able to have my pregabalin because it was a highly tradable drug in the prison. So then I went on to healthcare after that. But I was pretty unwell, like, because obviously they'd stopped me medication.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very well at all.
And at that point, had you started to realise the gravity of your position, or was it still a little bit of a...
No, I knew then that I'd messed up big time.
It generally happens when the door slams behind you.
Because I always remember getting put in the cell, and I'd said to the officer, I was like, "What time do the lights go out?" And she was like, "What?" I was like, "Do you not have lights out? Like, what it does?" And she went, it's not like the films. If you want your light on all night, you can. Right. And I was like, "Does the TV go off at a certain time as well?" And she was like, "No, you can have that on all night too." Like, all right, okay.
In Gary's day, they didn't have tellies.
Oh, God. I think I wasn't in then, that kept me going.
Didn't have toilets either, did
Your
they?
segment on the hope thing as well, I think you mentioned the dark as well and the fear of the dark and how it would have went for you if the lights had gone out.
Yeah.
It was, it was quite a...
I've always been frightened of the dark, even from a kid.
Me too,
Aye.
Funnily enough, aye.
And still now, like, I can't go to bed without having me telly on. I've got to have, like, a background noise or something.
And what was particularly powerful for me, I think you said when you were in the cell, someone came to the door, whether it was a nurse or a prison officer, and just said, "Are you all right, pet?"
Aye, it was a nurse.
And connected with you.
Yeah. She did. Alison, I still remember her name.
Yeah.
So how was your first night?
Terrible.
Much sleep?
I hardly slept at all. Right. I think panic, shock, everything, like... And then the next morning I was like a new toy on the wing because everyone was coming down for their healthcare appointments. But they all checked the cells to see if anybody was in them, and obviously my card was on, so then they come to the flap on your door and then, "What are you in for?" "What you doing? How long have you got?" And
that's got its own anxiety with it as well, isn't it? When you've got all that going on. And I think it's the not knowing what to do. You just have no clue what the process is, because even if something's been explained, especially in the state of mind you were no doubt in, then you can't process anything.
No.
There's just the cell, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that long. And I think sometimes with me, I was thinking, I just wish they'd leave the cell door closed.
Yeah.
Push the food under, because there's an anxiety about going out.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the truth was told, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is quite scary. Your first
Absolutely.
time?
I think, like before, when we went about the hierarchy of the jail and stuff, one girl came onto the wing, and because the jail was overcrowded at the time, they were putting like new reception visits, new reception prisoners, onto healthcare, and this girl got put on, and like, she looked a scary thing. She was massive. She was built like a fella, but everybody knew her in the jail. And she was spot on, like she just kept saying, have you been in before? And I was like, no, I haven't. And I felt like a little puppy, like looking at her thinking, oh, please just help us. And then she'd said, like, do you take any medication? So I did tell her, but I said, I haven't given us it. And she went, well, we'll give you it back, like, but don't ever tell anybody you take that medication.
Yeah, it's the beyond.
And I just thought, oh, that's so nice of her.
Right. But it is really.
It is, aye.
You need that mentor. You do need those people, as well as officers and nurses and everyone else who you immediately meet. You're very lucky to get that, because if it's the wrong person.
That's it.
Because I've had the wrong person before.
Right.
And then I can remember someone when I was first in Low Newton saying, I like them trainers, and I was thinking, they're all right. But what he was saying is, I want them. Do you know what I mean? I didn't get onto that. But, once he asked again, I got onto it.
Yeah.
And then I got onto him. But it was just, that kind of, I wasn't used to someone trying to take stuff off you.
Yeah.
Not where I lived. A very, very strange kind of environment.
So just getting back to the meds, obviously you were in need of these meds. How long did it take you from arriving to actually getting them prescribed again?
So I think it was less than a week.
Right.
But it felt like a month in my head. And I had a community psychiatric nurse on the outside, and she came in to the jail to see us, and I don't know how she did it because she came on the wing. But anyway, and she went and seen the psychiatrist and said, like, this is basically, she needs them tablets, and that day I was put straight back on them after she'd left.
Right.
It still took a few days to get, like, back some normality, but I could feel myself
back
start to ground
system,
a bit.
Yeah.
And the healthcare's a lot better, certainly than when I was in.
Yeah.
So the processes are better, aren't they? And I just think it's that kind of thing's better in general. Yeah. Because all you would get when I was away really was a paracetamol, and that is the truth of it. Yeah. And nothing addictive would ever be prescribed. They would never give you an addictive substance over the top of something else. If you couldn't get your medication, you weren't getting anything. So with regard, the person who you met in reception, is that the same person who took you to the canteen hall?
Yeah.
Is it? All right, yeah.
On the healthcare,
big, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was getting my meals brought to, like, healthcare for a little while, and then they were saying it was, why don't you, like, go down to the dining hall when there was more girls come on the wing? But I was like, I don't know if I can. So then this lass had said, come down with me, I'll, like, walk you in now.
So the dining hall, just for people that don't understand, it's just where everybody goes for their meals. Yeah.
The whole of the jail.
Yeah. Because some prisons get you eat meals in the cell. But Low Newton have got a dining hall. Yeah.
I think it fits about 300 people in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To the best of my recollection. Yeah.
So that must have been daunting.
The first time walking in.
Yeah.
Was horrific, because you don't want to look, because you walk in and you in the the kitchen bit straight ahead, but then this is where you all sit, like, round the back, so you don't really want to look, because you feel like, even in the dining hall, like, as I'd been in a while, you knew when someone new was coming in, you'd be like, I've seen her before.
Yeah.
Wonder what she's in for. Like,
was there not designated tables that you can't sit there?
So when we went into the dining hall, Tracy, this lass that was looking after us to speak, she said, now when we're going here, there was another girl that, like, come in the same time as me. She was like, you're going to go and sit with her over this side, and I'm going over that side over there. And I was like, all right. I didn't even ask why or nothing. I was just like, right, okay. Anything she said, I was just nodding away to.
Over time, did you manage to graduate from there to there?
Did I help? I knew exactly what was going on over there. I wasn't getting amongst it. Nah. You could blatantly see it as well. Like, it wasn't even like it was like on the QT. It wasn't out like that.
No,
it just did it. I think I must have been on healthcare for about 4 weeks before I went, like, onto the proper wings, and we were having an interview there. And then he said, "I'm hoping to get you moved into the main jail." And then I'd said, like, where am I going? And he said, I don't know yet, but I'm trying to look at F wing. But then I'd heard, like, the F wing for, like, murderers and other people on there, so I was like, I don't want to go on there. He was like, you do, that'll be the best wing for you. It's the most settled, like, that's where all the long termers go.
Is that because you didn't view yourself as one of them?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it also, I think, as well, it was a fear of, like, murderers. And
Right.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I've said before, say in Durham, you could be in a cell, you're in for your fines, you know, or white collar offences, and you could be padded up literally with someone who's in for murder or on remand for it.
That's it.
So there is a certain, I mean, when I was young, there was a certain fear. Once I was returning back to prison, and that was it. I knew what the law of the jungle was. It's different then. But there is all these anxieties again, because, you know, I said this when we were at Castington last week delivering. I went to my personal officer and said, what am I doing in here with these? That guy there shot his mum and dad dead with a crossbow, and he went, you're in here because you're violent. And I didn't see that at first. I was thinking, well, I've just stabbed someone, I haven't killed no one. You know what I mean? That's where my head was, so yeah. But there's a certain amount of fear to it, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So did you end up on F-wing?
Yes.
Right. And were you happy enough there?
Because after a few weeks in the jail, they had like mother and child parent visits. So every Friday morning from 9:30 till 11:30, the parent got to come in. So we were in the visiting centre, but we didn't have to stick at our table. We could move around, play games and all that with the parents. And I met a few women at them visits, and they lived on F-wing as well. So I kind of like got to know them. Yeah. And I thought, but these don't look actually too bad, even though these like are murderers.
Yeah.
Once my head had got settled in, I knew I had to be there.
Yeah.
I knew there was a reason why I was there. Like, so I just had to get on with it. And I did. And I found it quite all right.
Right. So you went to court. Interactions with did you have a barrister?
Yes.
You had a barrister. What was their general feel?
He said 12 year probably that I would be looking at.
Even with a guilty plea?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I was charged with attempted murder when I first went in.
Right.
And then it got dropped to Section 18, wounding with intent. And then obviously I had this little suspended sentence thing as well, so then that got added on. But
that was the least of your worries.
I kept thinking I wish I'd just done that 9 weeks stint now. So then we got a date for court, then it got moved, and then eventually I think I was on remand for about 6.5 months.
Right.
And the only advice you were getting was from people who were in the unit as well, telling you about how, you know,
oh, you're going to get a bigger
bad attempted murder is, and then how bad Section 18 is and stuff.
Because it was like premeditated as well. So
Yeah.
So I went to court, and then I was.
So you went to court in your head. I know your brief had told you, 12 years. Were you at that point thinking, I'm going to have to do these 12 years, or were you a little bit hopeful?
No, like whatever I got, I knew I had to do.
Right.
But anything under 12 was an absolute bonus.
So you get to court, judge taps the gavel down, gives you
7 years.
7 years. So in your head, you've had a bit of a touch.
Oh God, I turned around and I was like looking at my family, and they were all crying. I was laughing. I was like, "What are you crying for?" They were like, I was like, "That's good, man. That's mint. That's mint."
So did you understand the system? If you got 7 years, I'll only do 2/3, and had you worked that out or not?
Well, I just had to do half.
It was half then,
Right?
So I just did 3.5 years.
Right. And had you that worked out in your head?
Yeah, I just thought straight away, whatever I'm going to get, I'm only doing half. Then I'm out on half on licence, like.
Right.
So I was.
So you felt all right when you got the sentence, took you down back to Low Newton, was it?
Yeah.
Right.
I just wanted a date.
To get it over with.
That I knew I had something to look forward to, and I crossed my days off on my calendar until I got sentenced, and I was like, I'm not doing that no more.
No. Was it almost a relief?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I come back and I could have had a little party, and everyone was shouting out the window, "How long did you get? How long did you get?" So then I was telling them, like, "Fucking hell, you got a good touch there, like, didn't you?"
I think that limbo situation again. Just come back to what I was saying to you when we were just chatting before. A crow can fly over you, or 4 crows, you think, that's it, I'm getting a 4. you kind of lock on to any kind of thing to wonder how long you're going to get.
Yeah.
And I think in getting what you got, and it just shows you how quickly you acclimatise. Because if I'd said to you a year before, you're going to have 3.5 years to do soon, you'd have been terrified.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? But you kind of, as human beings, we quickly acclimatise to whatever's going on, don't we? If it's a 12 hour, I've got 6 to do. And I'm only doing 3.5. When I got my prison, there was the female officer, and she held my hand going down, and I wasn't laughing at the victim or what I'd done. I was laughing because I was buzzing the fact I hadn't been lifed off.
Yeah.
And she went, "You're the only person I've ever seen laugh who's got 6 years." And I was like, it could have been 26.
Yeah.
So I was delighted. So I can definitely, I understand where you were at there.
Okay, so you get back to prison, you're sentenced now. Did you have what were your hopes and aspirations at that point, apart from getting through the 3.5?
That I needed to sort my life out, because my life was in turmoil, and I was thinking, right, this time is like my time to sort my shit out. And I'm not coming out here the same as what I've gone in.
So did you witness much violence while you were in Low Newton? Not you personally, but around you?
There was scrapes and stuff, do you know what I mean? Like, there was always, the bells were always going off.
Right.
But nothing that I would think, oh my God, like, just a bit of a cat fight.
Did you ever get nicked while you were there?
No, I didn't.
What I mean by governor's report, put on governor's report?
Right. My nose was squeaky clean.
You mean you never got caught?
I've never been nicked.
Have you not?
No, and I wasn't squeaky clean, but I've never ever been nicked, never. I've been caught in the act.
Yeah.
But it's one of them. Yeah, they just let it go. But there's a book to be written about the manipulation and the exploitation and people's little, the games that they have and the operations they've got going. Because I used to be, in shock at the amount of stuff that people would do and what they were doing, we stealing ham, cheese, stuff, it just drugs, like everything was happening all of the time. There was that many kind of different strokes being pulled.
It's an industry in itself.
It just never stopped. Yeah, everybody was doing something.
Yeah.
Except of course, good people like yourself who were keeping your nose clean.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So did you have an experience of illicit substances in there while you were in? I mean, you're out now; they can't do you. So.
Yeah, did I?
Did you?
Yeah.
So you did dabble. Was that just because you were
bored
in a bad place? Yeah, bored.
Bored.
Right.
Like.
Can I ask something? Because it's not something that's. It's not a thing in the male estate, but it is in the female estate. Smoking Buscopan.
You're going to say that.
Who ever thought?
God knows.
Who sat there and thought, I'm going to smoke this, see what it does?
I have no idea. Somebody apparently in a Liverpool jail tried it, and that's where it came from, and everyone's getting shipped around and that.
But it's only, it never, I'm not saying it never happened in Durham, but wasn't prevalent. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the females, it's quite prevalent, isn't it?
Horrific.
Did you ever do it? Isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's hallucinogenic and addictive.
Is it really?
2 girls have been sent to like outside hospital. One girl, like, she lost her ability to swallow and stuff.
Right.
And like literally like went back to being a baby, like dirtying herself and everything again.
Really?
She was on constant watch. She got
off Buscopan?
Off Buscopan. To be fair, mind, she was a heroin addict before she came in. Because I used to do the inductions down at the gym, because I was a gym orderly. And when she'd come down the stairs, I could see her, she was like sucking her hand like this. And I was like, what you doing? And then Bev, the gym officer, she was like, what are you doing? Like shouting at me. She was like, oh, I've got an abscess on my hand, it's just a bit sore. But then after when she went, she was like, oh, I knew there'd be some more heroin in there, so I was sucking it out.
Oh my God.
Obviously very unwell. So yeah.
And then she started taking Buscopan, and then literally within weeks, that's what she ended up like.
Did you find access to drugs easy? If you wanted them,
oh
you could
God,
get them?
I never ever touched Buscopan, man, because I'd seen what the lasses were like, and spice, never touched that neither.
Was there a lot of spice there as well or not?
No, probably more Buscopan than anything.
Yeah.
But like, because you can buy them in Poundland, you can get like a box of 20 or something, so the lasses were coming in like full of Buscopan.
Yeah. When you say full, do you want to explain for those that don't understand that?
I would hide in places.
Hiding in places. Different orifices.
That's the one.
Is that how it gets in, do you think? Mm-hmm. Right.
I was in reception one day, we'd been out at, I'd had to go for a hospital appointment. And I came back, I was sitting in reception waiting for an officer to take us back over. And an officer came out of the room, right, and she had a bag. And she was proper old school, like I always used to call her body bag, because she reminded us of her off.
Aye.
Oh, the girls.
The series, aye.
And she says, if you can guess what's in this bag, you can have it. I was like, I don't want to guess what's in that bag. And she was like, if you can guess what it is and where it's come from, I'm telling you, you can have it. I'm not honest, I'm being serious, you can have it. I was like, no, I don't know. She was like, do you want to know what it is? And I was like, it was kind of Foster's. So when they'd got out to like bend over and that this.
Out the top.
I was like, it'll be warm. And she was like, that's all you can think about is that can of lager will be warm, not the fact that how she got it up there.
Oh, it's amazing the lengths they'll go to, isn't it? Yeah.
Terrible.
All this harm you're causing, what's it all about? There's a different way, you know, you could be more.
There was a couple of times where I said I couldn't do it anymore because I was delving into things that I'd blocked away for so long and I didn't want them brought back up.
Everything I said and did on them sentences, I thought was a lie because I was just telling people what they wanted to hear.
I've never felt as safe as I did when I was in jail.